Hello and welcome to the Design+Style podcast. We are a podcast for designers by designers. I am one of the co-hosts, Dixie with Dixie Willard Design. And with me as always is my beautiful co-host, the ever effervescent
Rachel Moriarty with Rachel Moriarty Interiors.
And her fidget spinner.
And my fidget spinner. If you are not, if you're just listening on iTunes or SoundCloud, you can't see me, but I'm fidget spinning while I talk to Dick while I'm podcasting. I'm multitasking.
Exactly. And by the way, if you real quick want to hop over and see our show notes or watch the video, you can find us on designandstyle.club, not .com, .club.
Yep.
Because that's where we put all of the episodes, and you can listen to it or watch it either way. Really watching it's the most fun, I think.
I know. And send us a picture. That's my favorite, when somebody's like, I'm exercising, I'm on the elliptical and watching, I love
seeing
that.
all of the different ways that people listen to us.
Consume us.
It sounds a little weird, but anyway.
Our topic
today we're talking about perfectionism.
Ooh, that's such a good one.
And I was just going to say, we are recovering perfectionists, both of us. So
we know a little something about this.
Yeah, we've had a little experience with it.
Oh, yeah. And, we were having that conversation the other day. I don't know if people are just listening to us, they might not know our age range.
Right.
And, we are in different groups. So it's always interesting for me to realize, we are Gen Xers. We'll just say it like that, right? And, not only have we been designers for, almost 10 years, but, 12, no, we're in like 12, 13.
I'm like almost 13.
Oh, geez. Holy moly.
I know.
That's what happens when you're a Gen Xer. You can't.
It pops up. It sneaks up on you when you're not expecting it.
But, not only do we have experience as designers, but we have life experience, right? And we have been doing, so it's interesting to me when I pop around the different groups to see the different things that people are just, I'm just coming into some of these concepts, and I think it's great. I love to see the blossoming of some of the designers that, are in our spaces. Perfectionism is something I worked on. I do not identify with perfectionism anymore, but I still, I get it. I get it.
We get it because we have struggled with it.
Come out the other end. Yes. One of the things we still struggle with, though, which is its partner, right?
Yeah. Procrastination.
Is they're kissing cousins. Let's just
put it that way. They are kissing cousins. We've figured that out.
So the first thing, we want to go through a couple of points. The first point is, I think people think that, and I even brought it up, it reminds me, the word perfectionism reminds me of when you go to a job interview and you have one of those classic interviews where they ask you those ridiculous corporate questions.
What is your biggest weakness?
What is your biggest weakness? And everybody says, I'm a perfectionist. I just love to put out perfect work and blah, 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 thinking that it's like a cool bad thing.
Yeah. Well, that's what they coach you to do, is come up with something that's a cool bad thing. But perfectionism isn't really a cool bad thing. It's
not. We found a quote, we were doing some research, and it says, it's not a weakness to show up as who we are authentically, right? That is not a weakness. You don't want to show up trying to be perfect. It's actually showing up as you are is something that tethers us together, which I love that.
And it's one of those things where, we have differences for a reason. And oh my gosh, look at the two of us.
Oh my gosh.
We're both Gen Xers. We both have pixie cuts.
And that's about it.
Yeah, we're both married. We're both designers. We've pretty much covered all of the stuff that we
Those are the 4 boxes where we're alike.
But oh my gosh, can you imagine? We are so different, and that's what's so fun. I mean, we celebrate the things that we have in common, but I think we have way more fun
with the ways we're different
than anything else. It's so much fun.
It's so much fun. So definitely, what we want to do is we want to talk about perfection. We want to talk about reframing. People think what's that one thing? It's not a badge of honor. It's not, I
Yeah.
can't remember what it said, but a lot of people wear perfectionism as a badge. It doesn't mean that you put out perfect work.
No.
That is not what perfection means.
No.
Perfectionism. So don't view it as a strength. It actually is a weakness. And if you don't identify it correctly, you will never work on it.
Yeah.
And that's what we want you to do. So when you're being a perfectionist, you are not taking risks. As creative entrepreneurs, we have to take risks on the daily.
All the time.
All the time, especially, when we need to really be viewing ourselves as media companies, unless
Right.
you have hired a PR. If you're in that, stage where you could hire a PR person, that's great. That's awesome. But if you are like Dixie and I, and you're a one-man show, I actually put media above my design. Because if I am not doing my media, I am not getting projects. I'm not being visible. So for me, when it's, my top things to do, it's social media first, visibility first.
And in-person visibility counts too.
Exactly. When you are a perfectionist, you're not open to new ideas.
No.
And we have seen this.
Closed off.
We have seen this in our own group when we talk about visibilities and some of the ways that people can be visible. Designers are really creative in their excuses.
Yeah. That's very true.
They can creatively tell you an excuse and you almost believe it, but really. So it keeps you closed. If you're a perfectionist, it keeps you closed and you need to be open to new ideas. You're not adaptable. If you're a perfectionist, you want to be adaptable, especially in the online world with algorithms changing.
By the time you get it perfect, everything's going to be completely different and you're going to be behind.
Stay uncomfortable. That's what Dixie and I did. I mean, we put a blog. We just stay in the uncomfortable zone because you don't want to get comfortable in this environment. If you get comfortable and, nothing's going to work. Even for me, something that worked 9 months ago doesn't work today because algorithms, we are in control of that stuff, but you have to pivot. So, one thing that came up in our group was talking about retailers being the enemy sort of thing.
Yeah.
And Dixie and I, we're not going to rant. We're not ranters, but we can, the retail industry has changed. Dixie and I came out of the furniture retail industry.
Yeah.
And even since those days, my word, has it changed. You have to adapt.
I was talking to actually an Ethan Allen manager the other day.
Yes.
And he said that they have started taking online stuff because their traffic in store is down. And that they're working on their in-person visibility as well as their social media because the store location isn't getting as much traffic as it used to.
Nope. What was I going to say? What was my
retailers? Retailers are not the enemy.
It's up to us. They're shifting in response to the market.
Right.
We need to shift in response to them. If we can affiliate with them, if we can blog with them. When I was at the Design Bloggers Conference, Adam Jabko, who founded it, he was saying us as a collective of design bloggers have more influence than any shelter magazine right now.
Yeah.
We need to leverage that. I think people just are not giving as much weight to the things that they should be. They're just, the big guys are trying to eat us little designers up, and it's not. Find a way to adapt, find a way to switch, partner, change the way you do things.
Don't get stuck in your box.
No.
I hate the phrase think outside the box, but think outside the box.
Do you really?
I don't know why. It drives me nuts. I
was about to fidget spin.
I was wondering.
I'm going to give you a spin on that one. Let's see. So, perfectionists insist on things being by the book.
Mm-hmm.
No. That goes back to the out of the box creative solutions.
Yeah.
We are all about creative. We base our whole business and life is based on creative solutions.
Right? That's what kills me is we are about finding new and creative ways to do things, but then we'll still kind of box ourselves in where that's all that we can do is that one thing that we think we're good at, or, we can't put something out because if it's not ready yet. And if anybody has ever been the queen of thinking that would be me. And if I can get over it, anybody can.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody can.
Absolutely. Me too. This is huge. This next one is huge. Hope you're taking notes.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a perfectionist, it means you're not developing. That is, you cannot, that would even be like not going for continuing education.
Right.
Not going to conferences, not, staying the same is not good. You need to keep developing, especially when we're talking about visibility,
mm-hmm.
when we're talking about, so invisibility, we've talked about in-person visibility, we've talked about online invisibility. Do not practice invisibility.
Please, no.
That will get you nowhere.
No.
Invisibility will get you nowhere. We just did a package, or we're still doing it. We extended it. A package.
Closing the deal package challenge with my demo.
Thank you for finishing my thought. Where we had to go in, and for some people, this is new software. It's a new way of creating deliverables for their clients.
Mm-hmm.
So we did something, and there's these pre-made packages. They can be $0 discovery calls, or they could be full-on room project packages.
Yeah, it can be any level of complexity, just something that people can click a purchase button, even if it's something for free,
mm-hmm.
and your client will receive whatever it is.
And, some people are still delivering stuff kind of old school. That is not developing in your brand.
Right.
People are expecting deliverables at a different level now.
Well, and I would say too that so many of, I've seen it several times. Oh, I don't think I can get it finished before the end of the challenge.
We're like,
and all I said was put up a graphic that says gift certificate.
Go on your website, copy your service, whatever the service is,
the package, and hit publish.
But they want to do all this work. I totally
get it. That's fine.
I know.
I want you to get started. It's start with the little things. People don't jump to the big things.
You could. Anybody could have put discovery call.
Right.
$0.
Yeah.
A graphic. Oh, great. This is it. I'm going to I'm going to enter we've given $50 away in a Design+Style mug.
Yeah. And let me tell you, the mug is awesome. Rachel's going to get hers tomorrow.
I'm so excited. So develop, definitely jump in, learn new software, learn new strategies, about being visible in your business. The last one is can't adapt to new strategies.
Yeah, exactly. And all of those tie in so well to each other. It's all, you're going to get stuck if you're not letting yourself try new things. I hate to say it, but it's okay to fail.
No, in design, when you have life, it's a must.
Yeah.
It means you're trying,
Did I tell you that failing is how I ended up an interior designer? She's pointing at me.
I'm trying to think of.
I don't think I've ever mentioned this. I don't think I did. So I was taking a huge load of classes at the University of Hawaii for engineering, mechanical engineering. It was spring semester. My husband was gone. It was right after 9/11. So when he was Air Force, he was gone all the time. And I started getting I've had chronic migraines for a while, but there was something about that spring that just triggered them. And I went from having an A in thermodynamics.
That sounds horrible.
A lot of people think that. I had an A. I had an A all the way up until the last 2/3 of the class. And I just couldn't, when I get a migraine, my math skills disappear. Like
Oh,
literally,
heck
I
yeah.
cannot math.
You can't even talk.
I can't talk. I
The
can't think.
migraine?
Direction, like weird things before the pain hits, weird
Yeah.
things happen.
Oh, right.
Not being able to math is one of them. And for me, it was extremely frustrating because here's this thing I've always been really good at. I've had straight A's for however long now, and I just can't do it. I just couldn't do that class. And I got an F in the class. I failed a class. I had never gotten lower than, I think, a B.
I believe it.
Failed a class. And it actually made me stop and think that it didn't make me think, no, I'm not good enough. It actually made me stop and think, is this really what I want to do? And that's what made me start looking at new options.
Space.
It gave me the space to look at new options. And that's how I became a designer, because the next semester,
you adapted.
I became an interior design student. So failing is okay. I have adopted this new philosophy of what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
Well, if that's it, then why not?
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people come through. Not too many people I know decide, at 18, they want to be interior designers. I feel like a second career, third, maybe even fourth career for a lot of people. And a lot of us have come up through corporate. Right. And in corporate, the culture is you cannot make a mistake or fail. Yeah. I remember everything was CYA, right? It was like CYA, you better write that down. You better do this. I mean, it was like
document everything.
A ridiculous time waster, right? Where when you are in this business, it's like, no, you need to try it. You need to try a Facebook ad and see if it works. If it fails, it fails. You got it. You got some information.
What's the worst that happened? You wasted $5. Try again.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, if I wouldn't have tried my Facebook Lives, that was just like, it wasn't even a strategy. It was just a little voice,
It was just trying it, just to try it.
I just was like, oh, this is a new thing. I adapted, I went on, and trust me, I mean, Dixie, you did a whole thing about how imperfect my first ones were. They were pretty bad, but it didn't matter. I mean, it was a brand new, we were in a group, and it was Facebook Lives were brand spanking new. Right. And nobody knew how to do them. And we all jumped on and started, nobody was perfect. That would be like, if I think back, and if I would have let perfection stop me.
What if you had waited for the perfect time?
Too late. On to the next thing. If you wait, it's like, even now, it's like lives are awesome, but they're not getting the reach they were even last year.
Right.
They're still the best right now, today, July 11th, 2017. But you never know. Next week, it could be something else, So
yeah. And I will say, I know that a lot of us grew up in homes where one or both of our parents was very particular about the way you had to do things to make them happy. I know there are other people out there who, if I came home with a 98 on a test, I would be asked why it wasn't 100, like routinely. And so it gets in your head that that's what you're supposed to do. To be worthy, you have to be perfect. And that is so not the case.
No. Are we talking about the kissing cousin in this one?
The kissing cousin? Oh, yes. We're going to talk about the kissing. This is the perfect time since you've brought it up.
So we noticed a thread or a through line through a lot of our designers in our group. And it's, we talked about it earlier. We addressed it earlier. There are two things that stop us. One is perfectionism, and the second one is procrastination, which is kind of a form of self-sabotage, right?
Well, I think for the people, it's definitely a form of self-sabotage, but I did notice there were two distinct camps when it came to procrastination. The people who procrastinate and end up with crappy work, and the people who procrastinate, it's hard to say 5 times fast, and do their best. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
when I was thinking about it occurred to me that if you are the type of person who thrives under that last minute, get it done here, that's your best work, it's probably because if you wait until the last minute, you're not going to have a chance to sit there and rip everything apart. You're not going to nitpick, you're not going to overanalyze. And if you give yourself more time, even if it's subconsciously, that you're going to mess things up by just at it. Whereas if you procrastinate, you get it done, you don't overthink things, and you just put it out there into the world. And how much less stress would it be if we procrastinated a little less, nitpicked ourselves a little less, and just got things done?
Yeah. Think about that. So, and what we're talking about is reframing this a little bit.
Exactly.
Think about the times that you did procrastinate. So what the point is, your work,
Mm-hmm.
even when you have shrunk the window of time you have to do something, because we are so good and we're so creative. It may not be 100% to us, but our clients don't know the difference.
Right.
Our
Compared to what they saw
70,
before, which was nothing.
our 75% is way better
Yeah.
than their 100%. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And so we need to like give ourselves a little bit of space, where we give ourselves a little more time where
Mm-hmm.
because too much procrastination and stress is just not great for the body,
No.
period. You can lose sleep and all kinds
Mm-hmm.
of stuff. But think about how many times that you've pushed that time frame, got it done in that small
Yep.
window, and you kicked butt. It came out amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's because you didn't have time to redo it and redo it and
Exactly.
redo it. There were not all those,
Exactly.
we complain about our clients, like having to do revision after revision. For ourselves, we do that,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we can just nitpick things that don't even matter, which
Did
leads
I
me to,
turn this much more? This
yeah,
part of the drawing, did I squeeze it over just that little bit much more? Well, what if I tweaked this pillow to where it just barely touched? It doesn't matter. I mean, yeah, you want to do your best work, but don't make yourself sick over it. There comes a point at which anything you do is not going to make it that much better. It's the law of
it's
diminishing
not.
returns.
Exactly.
The more you push it, the less better it's going to be. So,
Yeah. I like that, diminishing return. And that takes me to the whole concept mood board thing where people geek out. Our friend Stephanie, I don't know, I know she's doing it this week. She's doing a
yeah, yeah,
workshop on mood boards where, and hers is all about how easy they are.
yes,
Her mood boards are beautiful.
yeah,
But they're, she's like, kind of pulling that perfectionism part. Like, it's really easy. Don't,
yeah.
like, every time I
Mm-hmm.
see a designer post a mood board, everyone's like, what'd you use? It's like, oh, come on, you've been in the business 30 years, you're asking somebody use what you're using. You know what I mean? It's
It's funny you say that. One of my daughters is a perfectionist, or has been. She's working on it. And when she was little, her room would get messy, and I would tell her to pick up her stuff. And whatever system she had already, she would automatically think, well, it didn't work to make it perfect, so it must be a bad system. I have to start all over again. Everything out of every drawer, out of
oh,
every closet,
geez.
and every bin in the middle of the floor, and she would completely redo everything.
Oh my
We
gosh.
finally had to say, just go with what you've already got.
Yeah, just tweak
Yeah.
what you have.
Yeah. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to go
Exactly.
overboard. Just,
And that, when you're a kid, I would be like, yes, please go do that. That's take time away that I don't have to like.
yeah. Yeah.
it keeps you busy. But for us business owners, that is a time waster. So for me, when I see people just tweaking out on their mood boards, that, especially if it's a first look that you're passing by, just to say, hey, this is kind of what's swimming around in my head. Don't waste your time on getting things perfect and in perspective. And that is such a time waster to me. It's not going in a portfolio. It's not going to be published. It's not,
That was one of the greatest gifts that working for Williams Sonoma gave me, is I didn't have time to make everything perfect.
No way.
I made it as good as could be, which was still way better than what they thought they were going to get, and everybody was happy.
Yeah.
So
I love the mood board in my Doma. It's so easy. It just takes things from your product list. It throws it on a white background with a number and a legend. And you can kind of like, okay, here, let me put all the paint colors together or whatever, and all the, you can kind of group things. But it's a very, very simple way of doing a mood board. And I can promise you that would absolutely get the point across to your clients.
Yeah. Every once in a while, you have one of those clients who's like, I just don't know. Okay, in that case, maybe you do something a little bit more. But make sure you charge them.
Yes, exactly.
Don't go overboard. Don't let your perfectionism make you lose money.
Yeah.
Because it can in so many ways.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, so many ways. So,
on that note, we want to talk about you're going to talk about the challenge we have upcoming, but after that, don't let me forget, we have a quote that we want to leave everyone with, right? Okay.
Absolutely. So the challenge, our perfectionism challenge, we are going to start tomorrow. I'm going to have, Rachel and I are going to have different prompts for you to kind of help you think about why you're doing the things you're doing, what we can do to work on it, how you can stop fidgeting with your fidget spinners. No, that one's not in there. But just some simple steps. And this is probably I'm going to guess that this is going to be much like the visibility challenge that we did, in that it's never quite over. Rachel and I still have to work to make sure we don't let ourselves fall back into those habits. So we're going to keep working on this along with the visibility. But
this is long game, you guys. I mean, our challenges last a week. This is we're going for long game, though. This will come up again and again and again.
Exactly. And then real quick, our quote, because we want you to remember it. And I'll put the links to the articles that we referenced here in this podcast in the show notes, which is, like I said, designandstyle.club, not .com. Here's the quote. We are worth much, much more than simply whether or not we make a mistake. And that is so true. Stop giving yourself such a hard time and relax. And with that, we are the Design and Style podcast, and we thank you for being with us. If you want to join us, you can come over to our website, check out the show notes, find our club. But if you just want to skip over to the really good stuff and join us in the club, we are at facebook.com/groups/Design and Style podcast. And we can't wait to see you there.
Our club is really fun. We're going to warn you. Everyone calls it summer camp. Super interactive, super visible, exciting and fun. So we have a very different group. We're always keeping it high vibe up in there. So come and join us.
We can't wait to see you. Bye, guys.
Bye.